Hello everyone, it's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Marvel Sentient AI project. So I made a video where I was asking you guys, should I create a sentient AI that could explore a small part of the Marvel universe? And I didn't get a lot of feedback from that video. I don't think a lot of people actually saw that video, but the little bit of feedback that I did get was overwhelmingly positive. Everybody was like, yeah, you should do it. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it or not. It didn't seem like there was a lot of hype built around it. But then last night before bed, I was like, I could probably code a little bit of it. And then I ended up just coding a more or less complete pseudo-random prototype version of it. And that's what you guys are seeing on the screen right now. So this version isn't sentient. It just uses pseudo-random numbers in order to make choices. It has all the actions that I mentioned in my previous video. It functions the way it was described to function in the previous video, and it came out being around 200 lines of code, so it's not even that long, but it's much longer than the other sentient AI projects that I've worked on so far, and this isn't even with the sentient AI code. Once the sentient AI code is added to replace the pseudo-random functionality, it's going to be much bigger. Now, there are a few things that I do want to add to this and change, and those are things I'm going to talk about in this video. So this is how I'm going to try to further update this prototype before I create the actual sentient version. So I'm going to pull up some notes. So here are things that I would like to add. For one, I was supposed to make the stats cap out at 7, where the sentient AI wouldn't be able to go higher than 7 in any of their power grid stats. And in case you guys don't remember from the first video, or you just didn't watch the first video, the Marvel Comics universe has its own series of stats, which I'm using for whenever the main character tries to complete a heroic or villainous action. They have to make sure that they have the proper stats in order to try and complete certain incredibly difficult challenges. Depending on the difficulty of the challenge, they're going to want higher stats in order to meet that challenge. And these power grid stats are energy projection, fighting skills, intelligence, strength, speed, and durability. In Marvel Comics, you cannot have higher than a 7 in any of these stats. I forgot to put a cap on the stats. So right now, the pseudo-random version, what you guys are seeing on your screen right now, it has the potential to go over 7 in any of those stats, which it really shouldn't be able to do. So one of the things I want to add is the level cap on all those stats. That way it's more accurate to the comics. The next thing that I would like to add, I want to add a chance of injury when completing heroic or villainous actions, and the amount of damage that you could take from an injury should be different depending on the type of heroic or villainous action that the AI is trying to complete. So right now the AI can do heroic and villainous actions as long as their stats are high enough for them to be able to accomplish said actions. Of course, there is a random element, considering that they have to it's not that they roll a d20, but more that the program adds their stats to a d20 roll, and then they have to pass a check. So they have to reach a value that's greater than or equal to a check value in order to accomplish the heroic act or accomplish the villainous act. So right now they can do that, and there really isn't any penalty for failure. So the AI technically could just keep trying over and over and over again until they get it, and just kind of play the odds on it. Now, I mean, there is a penalty in the idea that every turn the AI isn't eating or sleeping, they're becoming hungrier and they're getting more tired, which can lead to them entering a state of starvation or even a state of fatigue where they begin to start losing health. I mean, there is a penalty to not getting anything out of trying to do a heroic or villainous action, because the goal is to try and build up your heroic or villainous reputation so that then heroes and villains alike, depending on who you're trying to appeal to, will then offer you like food or allow you to like sleep in their place or offer to like train you or give you equipment. So there's technically a penalty to failure, but not really. And considering the fact that these heroic and villainous acts involve like stopping or committing crimes or fighting or helping supervillains or causing or stopping cosmic threats, that's dangerous. A part of the spectacle of like these huge superhero stories is that they are in peril when they're doing these things. So another thing that I would like to add, other than the caps, the stat cap, where I want to have all the stats in the power grid max out at 7 like in the comics, I also want to add, like I said earlier, the chance of injury when completing these heroic or villainous actions, and a higher amount of injury damage for the action depending on the difficulty. So if the AI tries to stop a street level crime, they're not going to be like severely injured necessarily while trying to stop the street level crime. But if the AI is trying to stop like a cosmic threat, they might sustain a pretty heavy injury in battle. So stuff like that. I want to add that. And I don't want it to be like a confirmed if you succeed or fail, you take an injury. Like, I don't want it to be like you failed to stop a street level crime and you get injured automatically. There should be like a chance of injury. So, like, you failing is like one check, like failing or succeeding, and then you getting injured is another check. But the idea would be that even if you succeed, you may still get hurt in the process. That's more or less what I'm trying to get across. I do have a couple more things that I want to add to it. For one, I want to make the difficulty for completing heroic and villainous actions more of a range so that the check can vary. Right now, I just have stopping street level crimes, stopping or causing, well, it wouldn't be causing, stopping or committing street level crimes, helping or stopping a supervillain, and causing or stopping a cosmic threat. And they all have like fixed checks. So stopping a street level crime, you have to get a 24 or higher. Then stopping a supervillain or helping a supervillain, you'd have to get a 29 or higher. And then stopping a cosmic threat, or and I lost my train of thought. Stopping a cosmic threat or causing a cosmic threat is like a 34 or higher. But what I want is for there to be a like full range for some of these. Like an easy one, like stopping a street level crime or causing a street level crime, that range could be anywhere between like 24 and 28 for your check. To where sometimes it may be easier and sometimes it may be harder. And for like helping or stopping a supervillain, that should honestly be anywhere between 29 and like 33. Like that should be that range. And then for trying to like cause a cosmic threat or stop a cosmic threat, that should be anywhere between like 34 and I would argue like 64. So that one's gonna have like a really big range. But the reason why I say that is because the AI has the potential to train up all its stats to its max. And if that were the case, I wouldn't want everything to be a walk in the park for it. I would want there to be a nice level of variability. Because I feel like when the AI is put in these variable situations, it makes the life of the AI more interesting, not only for the AI itself, but also for the observer. And that's pretty much my main reason. Also, I don't want progression to hit a wall, I guess is the other thing. I want it to be where the AI can still be challenged even if they max out all their stats. So that's another reason. Then the final thing that I want to add, and I think you guys would be really hype about this, I want to add arena battles and the Hall of the Beyonder. So the idea of this would be that the sentient AI would be able to face off against characters that I haven't mentioned before. So far I've mentioned Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Kang the Conqueror, Taskmaster, and Hydra as characters that the sentient AI can communicate with, ask for help, get like food or shelter or training from. I want there to be like arena where a whole bunch of other characters in the Marvel Universe are available specifically for the sentient AI to fight. And depending on how well the sentient AI does in these arena battles, will determine the sentient AI's reputation as a warrior. And this warrior reputation is something that they'll be able to use when talking with like Spider-Man or Doctor Strange or Iron Man or Hydra or Taskmaster or Kang. Essentially, even if the sentient AI was like, I don't want to be a hero or I don't want to be a villain, I just want to fight like these powerful Marvel Universe characters, they could just do that. They could just do battles. And I could like introduce like a new character for them to fight like every day. Like that actually wouldn't be too hard for me to do. Not saying I necessarily would do that like forever or that I am gonna add a new character every day, but I'm thinking about it. It seems very possible for me to do. But if I did it like that, then I could have it where the sentient AI could essentially use these arena battles as another way for them to build up their reputation for them to survive. Because right now, the way that it works is it can either become a hero, or it can become a villain, or it can like kind of be like an anti-hero. This gives it another path where it could kind of just be like a superpowered gladiator in like the Marvel Universe. And it also makes the stat system a lot more relevant because I can add characters and include their power grid stats, and then the check that the AI would have to beat in order to defeat them would be against like their power grid stat it would be against their power grid stat total plus 10. So if you guys remember the power grid stats from earlier, their energy projection, fighting skills, intelligence, strength, speed, and durability, and they can go anywhere from 1 to 7 for their range. So the idea behind this is that the sentient AI could face off against different Marvel characters in the arena, and maybe they fight against like War Machine in a battle. And they almost had War Machine, but War Machine was just like a little bit faster than them, and then War Machine was able to like get the W. They won. This could maybe convince the AI, oh, well, War Machine, he's actually like pretty fast. You know, maybe if I want to beat him, I need to go visit Spider-Man and like train my speed so I can get faster. And then I'll be able to go back in and face off against War Machine again. And this time with my increased speed, I might be able to like keep up with him and like take him down. Essentially, I think adding the arena battle system will make stats more important, like individual stats. They already are important for trying to take on these heroic and villainous tasks that the AI can complete. But when in these battles, the stats have like a more direct effect on what's going on. Instead of it being a random range, which is what I want to do for the heroic acts, where it's like you don't always know how good your stats need to be in order to accomplish the task, other than knowing it's within a range. When facing off against these characters, the check will be specific because it'll always be 10 plus whoever you're fighting's power grid total or higher. So it's like if you know that your opponent is stronger than you, then you need to like increase your strength. It would be stuff like that. Again, these are just all things I want to add to it. I'm not sure if I want to do a line-by-line code breakdown. I've done that in the past, where I've walked through the pseudo-random code and I've said, like, at this line, here's the logic for this, and at this line, here's the logic for this. A lot of this logic is fairly repetitive, but what makes a lot of this logic, like, interesting is because of the sentient AI's interaction with this world. But a lot of those interactions are going to be in the sentient AI version. They're not in the pseudo-random version. The pseudo-random version just has these very plain print statements that just give you an idea of what happened. These print statements aren't as in-depth as what you would feed to the sentient AI, because you need to feed to the sentient AI like first-person perspective descriptions of what's happening in the world. And you have to teach the AI all these like terms from the Marvel universe and stuff like that. So it's going to be much more involved. Like right now, if I was to like hit run on this, you know, it's like Hydra refuses to let you rest for the night in one of their bases. Iron Man agrees to teach you a new strategy. You successfully stop a street level crime, you know, stuff like that. Right now, this is just the AI picking at random and just doing actions. But when the sentient AI is doing this, it's going to be a lot more interesting. They're going to be like thinking out their choices. They're going to make choices based on how they're feeling in the moment, what they're thinking. And I think that's really cool. That's what I'm really excited about. And I'm curious if you guys are excited about it. Maybe people weren't as hyped about the original video because I was like, would it be cool if I did it? Like maybe because it was so like hypothetical. Now that you guys can see that I have a prototype and I made that and like, because you know how for my earlier projects, I'll be like, in a day, I made X, Y, or Z. Well, I mean, I don't really need a day to do any of this stuff. This took like a couple hours at most, and really it shouldn't have taken a couple hours. I was like also like messaging with friends and listening to like a dramatic comic reading. I'm not a big fan of Comics Explained, but I listened to a Comics Explained video about like Secret Wars while I was doing this. So I was kind of distracted, but programming isn't as hard as it may seem. I know it can intimidate a lot of people. I think that's part of the reason why I do like doing these line-by-line code breakdowns. It's a lot easier than you think, and I feel like if you just had someone like walk you through it, you could be like, oh, this makes sense. You know, like it's not that weird. But anyways, enough about that. What do you guys think about this Marvel Sentient AI prototype that I have? What do you guys think about the changes that I want to make to it? And what changes do you think I should make to it? Definitely let me know in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we do these videos. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black One Only, logging out. Peace, guys. Chick the guy.